It's a rainy, dark, and dreary Thursday morning, July 27, 2023. But I do hope that you are all doing well and that you are staying dry and comfortable. Thank you for joining us in your program agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, thanking you for being Cignal TV subscribers, viewers of One News on channels 8 and 250, as well as via the Cignal Play app. And of course, an even bigger thank you to those abroad and who catch us via Facebook or on YouTube. Maraming salamat to PLDT Home Fiber Optic Internet for their services and their support of the program, especially in areas where we rely strictly on PLDT Home Fiber Optic Internet. Okay. It's still raining here in Capitolio, Pasig, Barrio Capitolio, Pasig, and apparently the typhoon has really okay. Well, let's try again with feelings. We seem to have had a technical issue with our Zoom connection, but we're back. I do hope we're okay, Gab. And for today, we are going to be talking to someone from the Department of Agriculture. We hope we'll have a nice conversation, and we will talk specifically to the director of the Bureau of Plant Industry, because there's been a lot of conversation regarding agriculture, but everything has always been focused on onion shortages, etc. Maybe, just maybe, if we might learn a few things other than headaches and problems, or learn about the Bureau of Plant. As I mentioned, today is July 27, 2023. Let's get on with the day by reading our daily starter. And have the power to turn you into something better than you were before. And I chose this because it is a recurring message that I see all over social media. I guess some people are affected by that message and have been sharing it, because we do make mistakes, and whether you are the president, the pope, whether you are the father, mother, son, daughter in a situation in the family, we all make mistakes. But the most important thing is to use better. The first step is to say, or to admit, I made the mistake, recognize what the nature of the mistake was, caused the mistake. Did you make a mistake because you were ignorant, because you were impatient, or you were rash? Or did you make a mistake because somebody fed you the wrong information or triggered you in a wrong way? And from there, accepting that it was a mistake, move forward to correct what the mistake was or what the consequences of that mistake were or was. So it's important. It's not just, recognizing the mistake. It's important that you correct the mistake and you repair the consequences or correct the consequences of the mistake. And in that multiple action, the process of multiple action, recognition, correction, repair, etc., you're actually like conducting an exercise that makes you stronger. Don't ever let a mistake get you down, become a victim, etc. So that's our daily starter for today. Excuse me. Let's now go to the front page of the Philippine Star, July 27, 2023, Thursday, and the headline of the Philippine Star today goes, Senators to discuss raising zero to United Nations or to the UN. The Senate will discuss behind closed doors a proposed resolution urging the Marcos administration to seek support from the United Nations General Assembly or UNGA in protecting the Philippine sovereignty in the West Philippine Sea. Senate President Juan Miguel Zubiri agreed to Senator Alan Peter Cayetano's proposal for a caucus on July 31. Foreign Affairs Secretary Enrique Manalo and Presidential Advisor on West Philippine Sea Andres Centino will be invited. In case you're wondering bakit bigla silang may meeting, apparently Senator Risa Ontiveros had proposed going to the UNGA or to the UN actions of China in the West Philippine Sea. So, Peter Cayetano said, let's not be harsh. I'm not saying, let's check it out. Okay. Now, we go to the top of the front page, the header, 2 dead, over 180 displaced as Egay pounds Philippines. There's the photo of a landslide to the left of the front page, and that is in Bagyas, Benguet. And on the right, you have Philippine Coast Guard rescuers evacuate residents to higher ground in Bacara, Ilocos Norte. So, Typhoon Egay pounded North Luzon, Northern Luzon, and those are the consequences. Meanwhile, school opening last week of August 8. The Department of Education, or DepEd, is considering the last week of August as the opening of the next school year in public elementary and high schools. Okay, yun po ang declaration ng DepEd. A bit of bad news, well, very disturbing news from the Bilibid mass grave, okay, found in Bilibid septic tank. after discovery that one of the persons denied of liberty or inmates had gone missing at the National Bilibid, a search was conducted, including the canine dogs, and it was someone had tipped off the officials that there's a septic tank in Bilibid where people had been dumped through the years, or at least that's the storyline. And now the DOJ and the Bilibid officials and the Coast Guard are working on gathering, collecting the remains of individuals who were dumped inside the septic tank. At the center of the front page, you have a photo of Marcos and First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos, welcomed by Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim on the left, his wife Wan Aziza Wan Ismail on the right, Malaysia King Sultan Abdullah and Queen Tunku Aziza Amina Maimuna Iskandaria. Okay, during a ceremony at the National Palace in Kuala Lumpur yesterday. Philippines, Malaysia to boost ties digital economy. Siguro it would be a good time for the president to also ask the leaders of Malaysia what their lessons were from the sovereign fund, okay, that Malaysia got robbed of 4 years. Ayan po. Nandiyan ka na rin. Magtanong na kayo, Mr. President. PNP seeks palace clarification on resignation of 18 officials. The Philippine National Police is unsure whether it should remove from posts or from the organization 18 police officials whose courtesy resignations over alleged drug ties were recently accepted by Marcos. Ayan na po. So, tatanggalin ba? Sisipain? O pakukulong ba? Sad news. Especially, this is personal to me and also for the program and to many Filipinos. Impersonator Willie Nepomuceno has passed away at age and his family posted the information and will be advising the public regarding funeral arrangements. Willie has always been a friend. We had common hobbies before, and he always supported the program and my career even in the past years elsewhere. Meanwhile, last but not the least, another big feat for Philippines. The Philippine Blue Girls erupt in celebration after a 6-5 upset of host Italy to make the playoffs. Okay, to make the playoffs in the 17th Women's Softball World Cup in Castions d'Istrada, Italy. On Tuesday, the Philippine Softballs completed a crucial twin kill in the day as they dropped New Zealand 5-3 a few hours earlier. Grabe, 2 games in 1 day. Jet lag pa yan. And that's all good because now the Philippine women's teams are gaining a reputation for defeating host countries. Okay. Anyway, that's all the news we have on the front page of the Philippine Star. Gab, if you would, please go ahead with the voiceover intro.
The Bureau of Plant Industry, or BPI, is the Department of Agriculture's arm for plant research and crop production. Mandated to ensure availability of high-quality planting materials and sustainable conservation and utilization of plants, the agency plays a crucial role in battling food inflation. Earlier this year, the Bureau vowed to implement reforms against price manipulation of onions. These include importation, providing aid to farmers, and reviewing existing tariff rates on imported onions. With the recent economic victories claimed by President Bongbong Marcos in his second State of the Nation address, how can the BPI further help moving the agriculture sector forward? Let's discuss this on today's agenda.
Glenn Panganiban is the director of the Agriculture Department's plant industry. He started working for the Bureau as a plant quarantine officer in 2005. An agriculturist through and through, Panganiban also concurrently serves as DA's National Program Director for Urban Agriculture. He obtained his agribusiness management degree from the University of the Philippines and doctorate degree in public administration from Korea University.
Okay, there you go. I'm having problems adjusting from my vacation. Pasensya na po kayo. Good morning, Director Glenn. Welcome back or welcome to the program. You've been on the program before, right?
Yes, sir. Good morning po, Sir Cito. I think it's my second time po dito sa programa niyo. Good morning po.
I remember our first interview went very well. Conversation lang naman. And, maraming kwento, usapan, balita. It's always about onions, about garlic. It's always about shortage. Pati yung intro namin is about the shortage. But, it just dawned upon me, maybe we should be talking more about the BPI, more detail. What is the Bureau of Plant Industry? Because for many people like me, for instance, when I was growing up, my mother would always tell me, go to the BPI if you want planting materials for your farm or for your resort, etc., etc. That BPI was the Bureau of Plant Industry was a dispersal agency ng mga halaman, parang garden. But now, people are saying the BPI has regulatory powers over all of this importation, but people are not clear. So if you don't mind, Director Glenn, could you just give us an overview? What really are the areas of concern of the BPI? Because I'm sure there is a national, there are regional, etc.
Okay. Sir Cito, thank you po. And thank you for this chance to share ang aming mga mandato sa BPI. So basically, sir, we have our research and development first. We do have 5 research centers in the country. Baka po dun sa atin sa Lipa. Dati yung STIARC, meron atin din yun BPI. So, but now po, meron tayo sa Baguio Research Center, we have Los Baños, we have Guimaras, La Granja, and Davao, basically serving as innovation centers or technology centers where our stakeholders can visit and really learn or have trainings para sa ating mga bagong teknolohiya. We do, yun nga, nabanggit nyo, this distribution of seeds and planting materials. Second, we do have food safety function. Sir, yan na, siguro sa regulations. Kasi nag-widen na po yung scope under the food safety law. We are one of the food safety regulatory agencies tasked with maintaining the integrity of our plant food, especially, at saka yung mga minimally processed, mga gulay, prutas, yan po. Third, we have seed certification. So yan na, sir, sa mga nurseries natin, kami po ang kami ang nag-accredit and nagse-certify ng quality planting materials. So kung ano po yung pinapamigay natin and yung pong pinoprocure ng government ng mga binhi ay dumadaan po sa atin. Of course, we have our engineering department kung saan yung mga technologies natin in agriculture ay atin din po ano. So yun part din yun ng research and development natin. Our pest management, meron din po tayo. Although this has already been devolved and put into under the umbrella of our regional offices, but we are still continuing to function as like the cerebral center, the CPU of pest management. And ang pinakamalaki po, ayan, nabanggit nyo na nga po, halos ngayon kasi with the liberalization of trade, our plant quarantine services, yan po, naandyan na po yung ating domestic plant quarantine, yung movement ng mga halaman na domestically. Our exports, we are the ones certifying the integrity of our plant exports, plant-based exports. Nandyan ang ating mga saging, ating mga mangga, pineapples, mga malalaki, hanggang doon sa mga maliliit, kaya ng mga halaman, mga kung ano-anong ating ini-export. Ano? And then for import, nandyan na po yung SPSIC natin, yung import clearances. Sa amin po yan. So, nag-accredit tayo ng ating importers, even the cold storage warehouses, and of course, we do the pest risk assessment of commodities that are coming into our borders. Ayun po, basically yan, sir. Oo. Malaki.
Binigyan mo na ako ng talking points eh. Okay.
Lumaki, sir. Lumaki. Opo.
Lumaki. So, okay. First priority as the director of the BPI, or what is the priority of the Secretary President of the Department of Agriculture in terms of plant industry? Kasi siyempre, marami kayong mga pet projects or mga concerns that may either be ideal for monetization, propagation. Ano ang priority ninyo ngayon?
Okay, sir. So, first, nabanggit nyo nga po kanina kung ano ba ang priority and direction ng Presidente. Of course, it's food security. And for us in the BPI, through our research and development, we try to improve the varieties na atin pong ipinapatanim o ating ini-encourage ipatanim ng ating mga magsasaka through our centers, kung highland ba yan doon sa atin sa Baguio or lowland dito sa atin sa Los Baños, Guimaras, and for the tropical fruits doon sa Davao. So that I think that complements what the President wants of food security. Second, sir, we want to improve production, syempre, and that's why we want to focus on pest management also. We lose, according to FAO, 30 to 40% of our production due to pests and diseases. So yan po ang isang malaking focus din po ng Bureau of Plant Industry sa ngayon, dahil kung tayo po ay improve ng production pero natatalo din naman tayo o nababawasan ang ating produksyon dahil sa mga peste, hindi lamang po for domestic kundi yung ating mga export products, malaking bagay po yun, 30 to 40% sa production, and then post-harvest meron pa tayong nawawalang almost 20% because hindi magaganda ang ating roads, hindi maganda ang post-harvest handling. So yun, second, sir, pest management. Third, of course, again, connected to the incursion of pests and diseases into our country, is yung biosecurity. That's why we have ramped up our efforts in improving our biosecurity efforts. Meron na po tayo, magkakaroon na tayo ng CEFA natin. Of course, that's mostly focused on animal health, but we also are part of that. We are strengthening our borders. We are collaborating with the customs. Nakaka-access na po tayo sa kanilang mga x-rays, and it's very yung relation po natin ngayon, especially ng mga nakaraan, dahil nga po pati law enforcement authorities ay atin na nakakatulong. So basically, sir, those under our mandate, and of course our international cooperation, kasi sabi nga po ng Presidente, well, domestic also with the private sector, we always are high on collaboration with the private sector dito po. Also as the director of the high value crops, ako po ay kami sa programa ay nakikipagtulungan sa mga industry stakeholders, kasi Lagi po nating nakikita sa balita at na may mga nagtatapon ng ganitong commodities o hindi nila maibenta ang kanilang produkto. So now we are working closely with the private stakeholders, industry stakeholders para malaman natin ano yung demand, and then we translate that or communicate that with our farmers and cooperatives para po yun ang kanilang i-produce. In that way, mabawasan natin, sir, yung kumbaga yung sinasabing ang middlemen na hindi naman talaga natin ma-eliminate. And sir, siguro finally, yung bagong programa, napag-usapan ata natin ito during my last guesting, was the Urban and Peri-Urban Agriculture Program, wherein we want to establish food production systems. Ang goal nga po, this is in collaboration also with DILGs, to have a food production system in every barangay. But nowadays, we have like less than 5,000 community farms or gardens na nag-ooperate. Kasama na po yung mga school gardens natin. So yun, sir, basically from individual to communities, to corporations, or to agribusinesses, yun po yung gusto nating i-complement.
Okay, Director, where are we failing? Hindi po ito criticism sa BPI. Let's talk as Filipinos. Saan tayo nagkukulang? Where are we not, doing things right? Because, for your I became a vegetarian a year and several months ago. So I am really very particular about vegetables. So, and I've always been a planter. Planter talaga ako since my childhood. Now, napapansin ko lang that in the Philippines, the love of planting has become a hobby of the rich. When we were growing up, planting tomatoes, pechay, etc., was normal for every Filipino family who was next to an empty lot or may paso, etc. Ano ba ang problema natin? Is it because we do not appreciate the value of vegetables? Is it because we have become lazy, or sabi nila, kasi bagong generation ng Pilipino, puro
po, thank you, sir. I think I share your same sentiments, and ito naman po ay on the personal side. Ito yung personal opinion ko. First, tayong mga Pilipino, hindi naman tayo siguro talaga, sir, vegetable eater. Siguro yung mga ating kababayan bandang norte, yan, at saka yung mga sa Kabisayaan, yan, kumakain ng gulay at mga root crops. Pero basically tayo nung mga bata tayo, parang pag pinakain ka ng gulay, well, in my generation, sir, parang ayaw natin kumain. So that's the first one. I think yung habit natin ng pagkain ng gulay is yun yung personal natin, character natin. Hindi tayo, kumbaga, hindi in our DNA yon. Majority. I'm not saying all. Second, sir, siguro, yun nga, nabanggit ninyo, nung dati, nagtatanim tayo. I think maganda pong sinimulan sana from bata pa. Ako po, inaabot ko po yan, mga gardening sa eskwela. But I don't think now na kasama siya sa klase, but I think ibinabalik siya, because I think with that you empathize or you realize how hard it is to plant vegetables, and yung sense of fulfillment kapag nakapagpatubo ka. On the broader sense, sir, I think our agriculture industry, sa plant industry, medyo, sir, hindi po nabigyan talaga ng enough focus. For our agency, sir, we have been operating in ang isang center namin, sir, before po ako take office, was operating on a 5 million peso or less budget for a year. Imagine that, sir, yung support for that. Opo, very, very, very small. So kung hindi po sila makakuha, halimbawa, ng funding from research institutions, hindi po So ibig sabihin, yan naman po, di ba? Kung ano yung ini-input mo, basically, yun ang output na makikita mo. And sir, siguro at that time, nung talagang sikat po ang BPI sa pag-distribute ng mga seeds at planting materials, I think during the 70s and 80s, malaki po ang nagiging suporta. But dahil nga po, sir, kami po ay staff bureau actually ng gobyerno. But we are operating also in the front line. So medyo siguro dahil sa changes na rin ng landscape, sa legislations, nagkaroon tayo ng devolution. So yung mga extension workers natin sa BPI napunta na rin sa mga region. So basically yan, sir, from our siguro culture hanggang sa support from the government.
Go for a quick break, Director.
Yeah. Sige po.
Director, we'll go for a quick break
Okay
and
ba,
then let's
okay ba.
pick it up from there kasi nakakashock yung sinabi mo na mas malaki pa ang pondo ng mga kaibigan ko may farm kaysa sa bureau
Totoo
mo eh.
po.
Okay,
Totoo
we'll go for a quick break here on Agenda.
Onion smuggling remains as one of the top issues that the Agriculture Department is facing, but there have been steps to address this pressing issue. The Philippine Competition Commission confirmed that it is investigating possible cartels in the onion industry amid high prices of the commodity. Lawmakers, for their part, are working to unmask the unscrupulous financiers and traders behind the onion cartel. Aside from this, efforts have also been made by the DA through the Bureau of Plant Industry to carry out its mandate of promoting food security in the country. Aside from all these, the agency recently signed a Memorandum of Understanding with the World Vegetable Center to work together and form a collaborative alliance to further develop the agricultural sector. The DA is also taking steps in propagating the production of Grade A durian through its Bureau of Plant Industry and the High Value Crops Development Program. Recently, the agency also welcomed delegates from Thailand for possible collaboration on rice and avocado. Let's discuss these further on today's agenda.
Okay, welcome back, Director Glenn Panganiban of the Bureau of Plant Industry. Before we went to the break, you shared that prior to heading the agency or the Bureau, the BPI only received 5 million budget a year. And I said, mas malaki pa yung funding ng mga private hobby farms na alam ko. So, what has changed for the BPI in terms of funding, operational capability?
Yeah. Sir, yung 5 million or less na yun for the center, for one center, one research center. So, we have 5 of those. So, yun po, isang center, 5 million. Kulang pa po talaga yun sa kanilang maintenance and operation. But for the BPI, kami po siguro less than 1 billion a year. Pero yung aming scope ng trabaho, nabanggit ko naman po sa inyo kanina. So, upon the assumption of our president, our secretary, kami po sa BPI, we're very fortunate to have been supported. Nagkaroon kami ng, I think, 600 million pesos na dagdag para sa aming budget. So, kumbaga, yun po ay very welcome na support for us kasi mapalakas namin, sir, yung naging focus po noon is mapalakas namin yung aming centers. Again, kasi yun po yung tinitingnan di ba? Yun ang bastion ng technology dapat. So, yun po yung palakasin. And for the production side of that, meron din kasi. Second po, sir, is yung ating sa food safety nga and biosecurity. So,
yeah, Director, hindi ko lang maintindihan, okay? Clearly, you guys are working. You're trying to do your best with limited budgets. Why does this overpricing of onions, of garlics, shortages, etc. Parang ang hirap intindihin why it happens. Is this purely because when I did my research, a friend pointed out, Kuyang, hawak nila ng mga importer yung mga cold storage, hawak nila yung network of market network ng mga onions and garlic, etc. So they can create shortages. Why is the BPI not able to counter them?
Sir, tama po kayo. I think yan din po yung mga lumabas din dun sa investigation, but I would not like to preempt it. I think, sir, yung mga yan, mga smuggling na yan, hoarding na yan, these forms of corruption is very dynamic. And tayo sa government, kami sa government, even though kami ay nag-adapt, ako po, sir, ay talaga po, yun po yung aming, kasi from the start, ako po ay quarantine officer, so alam naman po natin kung ano talaga nangyayari. And I think at this time, yung policy natin, kailangan din, sir, maging adaptive and mag-change. Kasi kung halimbawa, ayan, nakakahuli kami, but we cannot, hindi naman na po prosecute ng mabuti, wala naman yun nga, nasasampulan at yun din po, ang lumabas din, is hindi siya nagiging deterrent. And then I think with this network na na-build na po ng mga unscrupulous people dyan, nagiging dynamic din sila Pag naglabas ng polisiya ang gobyerno, they would go around it. Kumbaga,
If a quarantine officer discovers and stops the importation, let's say whether in bulk or whatever volume
Yeah.
ng smuggled items, is the BPI mandated or given the authority to file a case, complaint, or referral against the smuggler or unauthorized importer directly or with the DOJ? Pwede ba yun? O hindi kayo pwedeng mag-file ng kaso?
Sir, dito po sa nangyari nitong latter part of 2022, yung kung aming mga nasabat, we work in collaboration with the DA Intelligence Enforcement Unit. And sila po ay, yun nga, nagsampa na rin sila ng kaso. So I think the DA can do that. But then, ang parang lumalabas din po sa mga pag-uusap and discussion, it's with the custody of customs. Mas sila kasi sila po yung naandun sa according to the CMTA, Customs Modernization and Tariff Act, parang ganun po ang na sila po ang mainly magkakaso. And they have already. Yun nga lang po sir, siguro nga po dahil nga po mahuhusay din natin. Minsan po yun, like sa aming experience, wala naman hong nagpapakita doon sa mga nakakasuhan namin. Wala naman nagkiklaim niyan. Kumbaga, parang we are in a bind sir kasi nahuli kami,
Okay.
kaso kami. Tapos minsan kami pa pagdududahan sir. So yun lang, ang maganda lang dito sir, dito sa admin po ng ating presidente, ng aming sekretary, talaga pong wala namang kinalaman.
What about production? What about on the production side? Kasi interdiction yung ginagawa natin, di ba? Huhulihin mo. But on the other side, the way to battle it is to have production. Now, ano bang nagiging challenge ng BPI to encourage the production of these sensitive agricultural products?
Actually, sir, kami sa department, yung BPI and yung banner programs natin supporting fruits and vegetables, I think we have improved production, sir, from I think 6 years before, wherein nasa 60% lang ang production, halimbawa natin, ng spices, halimbawa, yung onion na yan. Ngayon, sir, nasa 80 plus na po tayo. So, ibig sabihin, napataas naman natin ang production, But I think nga, yung nabanggit nyo kanina na nandun na sa network yung mga ibang...
Yung sa storage, cold storage. Kasi kahit marami ang ma-produce ng magsasaka or farmers producing abundance, they need a place to store the onions, the garlics, etc.
And sa value chain, sir, di ba? Siyempre, kung halimbawa, ang magsasaka, purely magsasaka, kung wala siyang pangkapital, manghihiram siya ng pondo. So, kung bigyan siya ng pondo, talina siya halimbawa dun sa mga financier na yon. So yung value chain na yon sir, from financing to production.
But with the president being on top of the chain, sabi nga nila, being the top dog, hindi pa ba nami-meet yung requirement for the DA, for the land bank, or ewan ko kung ano pang bangko merong natitirang kaibigan ng mga magsasaka. Is there no support system available?
Actually, sir, nung nag-take over ang presidente sa Department of Agriculture, yun na po ang value chain. So, noon pong kainitan nung yung ganyan, may mga challenges tayo sa production and pinag-integrate na natin, sir, yung agricultural credit policy. Yun po yung ating sa credit. Itinayak na natin sa mga co-op na halimbawa yung mga onion farmers and ibang magsasaka, pwede po sila, nakapagpahiram sila. On the production side naman sir, yung banner program din ng DA, yung high value crops, nagbigay din po ng suporta and intervention in terms of production support, yung mga binhi, mga fertilizers, and then sir, towards the end, yung sinasabi niyo pong cold storages, although hindi po siya ganong kalaki, ay tayo po ay nag-establish ng mga yon para at least yung mga farmers at saka yung lehitimong mga kooperatiba, doon sila makapaglagay. And I think, sir, meron pong success stories eh. Yun lang naman po ang hindi na i-connect, na ibabalita rin siguro. Like, for example, we have a cooperative supplying a big restaurant chain, food chain dito, kumbaga. And dahil po sa certification na binibigay ng halimbawa ng BPI sa good agricultural practices, and of course sa volume na kanilang nakukuha dahil sa magandang suporta ng government and the LGUs of course, ay nagsasucceed po sila. So merong success stories, meron lang pong hindi kagandahang mga storya. So yun sir ang ano natin, gusto nating i-gawing model sila.
Yung digital market network, kasi na-notice ko yan in Japan, meron silang online system of pricing, who are the farmers na producing a particular good, and what are their volumes, when will they be harvesting, scheduled harvest, ano yung price. Meron na ba tayo niyan, or we're still it's still a dream as far as the president is concerned?
Actually sir, yung digital agriculture na binabanggit natin, yung access and the use of information technology and the data, naandyan naman yan sir. Maganda naman po ang ating system. Meron na po tayo mga events sa mga bantay presyo, online na naman po yan, yung ating mga presyuhan sa market, yung ating mga nakakonect na rin po tayo doon sa mga ilang apps na
sa BPI ito? Sa
sir,
Bureau of
in
Planning?
DA in general, meron naman tayong mga connection na yan. And we're doing e-commerce na rin, sir. Even dun sa mga permits, we're fully online, sir. So, ibig sabihin, meron namang system na. Ang ibig sabihin lang po, ang kailangan lang ay talagang i-integrate yung mga yun. Actually, sir, we're working with big telecommunications company ngayon para po yung sinabi nyo, ma-monitor from production to halimbawa kung anong management na ginagawa mo doon sa crops mo hanggang sa makita na ano yung volume, saan sila naroon, and then saan yung markets na pwede nilang servicean.
Yung production calendar, that was always the curse of former agriculture secretaries na bigla magkakaroon ng flooding, overproduction, and sasama ng loob ng farmers, pinapakain na lang sa baboy, etc. What is the BPI involved in regulating the production calendar of certain vegetables, fruits, etc.?
Yeah. Sir, we do have production guides naman, and of course that varies every region. Hindi naman tayo pare-pareho ng klima at saka physical attributes. So, meron tayong mga ganon, but I think it still has to be improved. Kasi dynamic siya dahil ang climate change, sabi El Niño, timo ngayon, bumabagyo, umuulan, bumabaha. Ang amin sigurong part dito sir sa BPI is we want to encourage or institute the use of climate controlled environment farming. Tinry na natin yan sir with our greenhouses. We have several smart greenhouses. Nandi kumbaga naka-greenhouse tayo, and yung nutrient talagang efficient using digital and modern technology, fertigation, drip irrigation, and all those hydroponics para sir hindi tayo masyadong dependent on the weather. Kahit na umuulan o sobrang ulan, meron tayong kaunting kumbaga, pero sir medyo yung use natin ng greenhouse hindi pa ganun yung controlled environment farm. Ganyan is containerized farming, yung meaning yung 40-foot containers are ginagamitan na, and we grow fruits, vegetables there. So meron ng ganun sir. Hindi pa lang tayo nakakarating dun sa stage na ay kumbaga may critical mass na tayo na ganito para masabi na meron tayong ganitong production. Kasi sir, talagang agriculture is one of the is yung climate, di ba?
Yeah. You were saying earlier na President Bongbong Marcos, food security ang number one concern niya. And then according to other sector representatives, he has also been very vocal about the water shortage or El Niño, etc. So combined, medyo ang mangyayari, we go to what your pet project is, which is the yung vegetable gardening barangay based ano ba yung title mo doon?
Urban and peri-urban agriculture, sir.
Yun, urban agriculture. Okay, now what's happening with that, Director? Kasi panahon pa ni Secretary Dar, sinasabi na yan, pero parang hindi pinapatulan ng mga local government. Here in our barangay, matagal na meron silang parang barangay vegetable garden, pero 2 meters by 5 meters. Sabi ko, hello, hindi pwede yan. Dapat yung buong barangay makumbinsi natin, tanggalin nyo na yung bermuda ninyo na walang silbi, yung mga palm trees na hindi naman endemic, magtanim na lang kayo ng gulay at saging.
Opo. Tama po, sir. Well, yung urban agriculture, of course, again, baby banner program pa yan ng DA, sir. We are just 2 years old, and this year lang po kami nabigyan ng financial support. But I think physically, yung participants ay marami pa rin po. Marami pa rin nagpa-participate, although mayroon pa rin dropouts. But ang maganda, sir, ngayon, well, ni-relaunch namin this year yung, kumbaga, Green Revolution 2.0. It was with the DILG, with Secretary Abalos and the President himself. Nag-partner na po kami, yun nga, to envision or aim to have a food production system in the barangay. Sir, in Luneta, we pilot urban garden there, or urban community farm, na meron tayong greenhouse kung saan nandun ang nursery, merong edible garden, may pang-ornamental. So kumbaga may template tayo na pwedeng i-adapt ng mga barangays. Of course, not all naman ay supportive dyan, but I think with the support of the DILG, ating private partner, sir, malaking bagay ang mangyayari. Sir, if I may, meron din tayong partners na other government agencies like the DOJ, yung sa Bucor, yan, kanina binabalita niyo yung hindi kagandahang balita. But we are partnering with them. We signed a pact with them to develop a 500-hectare land in Iwahig sa Puerto Princesa. So upscaled production. Hindi na lang, sir, kami sa urban and peri-urban agriculture, maliliit na patches, kundi malaking area ang ating i-develop.
Yeah, but I think our audience, our viewers should become aware of this. A lot of people don't put value to container gardening or urban gardening, mga kaibigan. Pero pag kayo po bumili ulit sa palengke ng gulay para sa pamilya nyo, kwentahin nyo magkano yung ginastos nyo. List down how much money you spend for fruits and vegetables, and then calculate that over a 52-week or 12-month period. At masyashock po kayo that you are spending so much money, because I'm now into, studying financial behavior, and nung kinumpute ko yung pagupit lang, magbayad ka lang ng pagupit, pati yung tip, etc., parking, it averages 500 pesos a month, once a month, and then you spend 60,000 pesos a year. Sabi ko, hindi, tama ba? Basta 500 a month. So 10 months, 50,000. 5,000. So 6,000. Pera pa rin yung pansweldo pa rin yun ng isang tao. So people need to see we need to monetize the idea, Director. So people will see the value. But anyway, before we run out of time, merong message dito. India has banned rice export. Philippines is the second biggest importer in the world. how will this impact us? I know it's not in our thread of conversation, pero sakop ba ninyo yan? Do you have any say on that?
Yeah. Well, sir, yung decisions ng ating trading partners, of course, we don't have ano dyan. But sa atin naman, sir, we have the rice imports naman. It's continuous, ano, yung sa rice tarification law natin. Tuloy-tuloy naman po yan. Of course, the decisions of our partners, again, it's not in our domain na. But for our domestic, we have the Masagana Rice Industry Development Program po. Ngayon, syempre, binabanner din talaga ng ating presidente. And I think that's really directed on clustering farms and improving the production, having shared facilities. Kasi sir, you were asking ano ba yung napabayaan, and I think that's that. Mechanization, post-harvest, and we can only do that if we cluster areas together. Mas malalaki po para may economy of scale tayo, kumbaga. It just not translates to or applies to rice, but also for our high-value crops. So meron din tayong mga crop diversification pwede natin gawin para sa dagdag na kita o alternative na sources ng pagkain.
How come we're not developing upland rice or rice that is not overly dependent on water, Director?
I think meron na pong mga ganong programa, although hindi naman po under sa aking ano yun. We have the Rice Industry Development Program.
Okay.
Opo, but I think we do have field rice, marami na pong ganyan na mga research, and I think ginagamit at ina-adapt na rin po ng ating mga farmers.
Okay, well, anyway, last minute, any other project or concern na hindi natin napag-usapan today?
Opo, actually, Sir Cito, I think we discussed a lot, and from food security, but I think for the high value crops part, I think aside from our star commodities like the bananas, pineapples, and all that, we do have other potential commodities na pwede pa nating export, like our ubi, our durian, and langka. But I think the ornamentals part, I think, sir, malaking potential din. Sabi nyo nga kanina, sino ba yung nagte-take care ng mga plants? Sabi nyo, yung mga mayaman nyo. Mga may halaman, di ba? Oh. So I think the ornamental industry is, I think, ready to bloom, kung bigyan lang din natin ng suporta. And I think we are going to do that starting this year. And next year, magkakaroon po tayo ng mga initiatives dyan. Karoon ng mga botanic garden. So, hindi lang po pang pagkain, kundi therapeutic din. Maganda yung ating surroundings. And baka kumita pa ang ating mga farmers, ornamental farmers. So, yun, sir. Maraming salamat po sa inyong suporta sa amin. And
pakisabi na lang sa mga kasama mo sa DA, kakampi kami.
Yes,
kami. Magpa-interview lang sila. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Director Glenn Panganiban, Bureau of Plant Industry. We pray that you and all your associates at the BPI will have protection, guidance, wisdom, and favor of the Lord. God bless all of you, Director.
Salamat po, Sir Cito, and magandang umaga po. Buhay po kayo.
Okay, let's now go to our closing prayer for the week. But before I read that, please, magtanim po kayo ng gulay sa bahay nyo. Makakatipid kayo. Huwag nyong ismulin kasi malaking pera, mahal na ang gulay ngayon. Okay, let's go to our prayer for the week. Blessing, Gab, if you would. From the book of Isaiah 43, verses 18 to 19, forget the former things, do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. And I pray for God's blessings to be upon you, a new start, a breakthrough, and please include Team Agenda in your prayers. God bless all of you. Please keep it here on One News.